Imagine standing on your own land, staring at a house so poorly built, it looked like a cartoon joke, walls in the wrong place, kitchen cabinets nailed to thin air, and a garage opening into your living room. Now imagine being bullied to accept it or lose everything. But then, your lawyer drops one sentence that silences the entire room. If you've ever dreamed of seeing justice served cold to the greedy, the arrogant, and the downright incompetent, hit that like button, subscribe, and brace yourself. Because this isn't just a revenge story, this is a lesson in strategy, patience, and karma served with a lawyer's smile. This happened in 1973. My parents, just a young couple back then, were finally living their dream. With 2 tiny children and a modest down payment scraped together from years of hard work, they bought a peaceful piece of land out in the country. It was supposed to be the beginning of something beautiful. They approached the local small-town bank for a mortgage to build a little ranch house. The bank agreed and signed a contract with a man named Eric, an overbooked, underskilled contractor, who had promised to bring their dream to life. But instead of delivering a home, Eric delivered chaos. Eric didn't show up on the job site. Instead, he sent his half-trained minions who clearly had no idea what they were doing. What followed was a parade of horror that turned my parents' joy into despair. There was the wall, yes, a wall, built straight through the bathtub. The kitchen cabinets, secured with a few roofing nails right into the drywall. No studs. My mom was told, don't put anything heavy in them. The garage door, framed not to the driveway, but into the living room. Then came the final inspection. The bank's representative showed up, smug and ready to close the deal. But when my parents refused to sign off on the disaster, he got angry. To prove everything was fine, he grabbed the front door to enter, and the entire door, frame and all, collapsed on top of him. It had been wedged in, not even nailed. That should have been the wake-up call. But instead, the bank and Eric ganged up on my parents. Eric threatened to sue them. The bank threatened foreclosure. My mom, a stay-at-home mother already struggling with 2 young kids in a horrible rental, was left sobbing nearly every night. My dad was working 2 jobs, drowning in anxiety and helplessness. They were bullied, lied to, cornered. With nowhere else to turn, they went to an attorney. His name was Andrew. They laid everything on the table, blueprints, photos, documents, their fragile hope hanging by a thread. Andrew listened. And at first, he didn't look optimistic. But then, something in the documents made his eyes light up. He smiled. And he said 4 words that would change everything. Let's schedule a meeting. The next day, everyone gathered at the bank, Eric and his lawyer, the bank's representative and their attorney, my parents, and Andrew. Andrew wasted no time. My clients no longer want this house, he said, calm and clear. Please remove it. The room burst into laughter. Remove it? You're kidding, right? Someone chuckled. Andrew didn't flinch. He reached into his briefcase and laid down a piece of paper. A deed. My clients own the land outright, he said slowly. You built a house on land you don't own. Now get it off. Silence. Eric's attorney turned pale, staring at Eric. You built it on their land? Eric could only nod. The bank's attorney exploded at their own rep. You didn't finance the land? The man stammered, no. Andrew leaned in, his voice ice-cold now. As I said, you're trespassing. Remove the house and return the land to its original state. Immediately. What followed was a moment my dad said he would never forget, the sheer look of horror on their faces. It was checkmate. The bank realized they could foreclose on nothing. They didn't even own the land. Eric realized he was out the tens of thousands he'd sunk into a house that had to be demolished, and might have to repay the first half of the bank's money. Everything flipped. Suddenly, my parents were angels. The bank and Eric were bending over backward to resolve the misunderstanding. Within weeks, the house was rebuilt to exact specifications, proper studs, proper wiring, garage facing the actual driveway. No more walls through bathtubs. At no extra cost to my parents. Eric barely broke even. The bank's rep? Fired. And Andrew, the attorney? A legend. The best revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's a line spoken calmly in a quiet boardroom that makes powerful people break into a cold sweat. Eric had the audacity to build a disaster on someone else's land. The bank had the arrogance to bully a young couple into submission. But in the end, they had to beg for forgiveness, and pay for every brick. Sometimes, the law is the most powerful weapon of all. Patience, truth, and a little strategy can take down giants. What began as a nightmare turned into poetic justice, all because one man noticed a forgotten detail, and knew exactly how to use it. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What's the most satisfying act of justice you've ever seen? We've got more real-life revenge stories coming, don't miss the next one.